Star receiver Demaryius Thomas had the degenerative brain disease known as CTE, which is linked to repeated blows to the head, according to doctors from Boston University who had been studying his brain. Thomas died last December at age 33. Free agent forward TJ Warren agreed to a one-year deal with the Nets as they deal with Kevin Durant's trade request and uncertainty surrounding Kyrie Irving's future in Brooklyn. With Durant under contract for 4 years, the Nets can be patient and get the package they want in any deal, explains ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski.
Brooklyn's mandate internally is to get the biggest, best package of assets, draft picks, and players that they can get for Kevin Durant. And with 4 years left on his contract, they have that leverage. I think right now for Brooklyn, they're looking at perhaps 4 to 5 first-round picks, pick swaps, and then an all-star level player at the minimum.
Adrian Wojnarowski, six-time Wimbledon champ Novak Djokovic had his back against the wall in the quarterfinals today, dropped the first 2 sets to Jannik Sinner, then roared back, won his 26th straight match at the All-England Club. Djokovic faces Cameron Norrie in the semifinals.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musu. Welcome back, Muse. And Mr. Toby Tomplet. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Hope you all had an awesome 4th. Hopefully you were safe out there. Nobody lost any digits or anything like that. But good to be back. A lot of people with a little vacation brain today, which is understandable after the long weekend. But what a weekend it was for Brian Kelly and the LSU football Tigers. A haul. 3 commits on the 4th of July. They added another prospect who is actually now the highest-rated prospect in the class for 2023 last Friday, and then another defensive line prospect on Saturday. So, boy, they just kept on Sunday. The long weekend, the days kind of run together. So they kept stockpiling over the weekend. They've added 5. Remember, last week we were talking about LSU with only 6 commitments in the class. Shea Dixon was here, spent a full hour with us on Thursday, and the Tigers are sitting there ranked somewhere in the 30s. You saw, Derek Williams go to Texas after the Arch Manning news, and there was this legit question about this coaching staff and their ability to recruit the state, to recruit big prospects to Louisiana and to LSU. I'm not going to say all of those questions are alleviated because there was still the question about recruiting Louisiana. And you got to get the best players in the state. But a weekend like this, where you go from 6 commits to 11, you add a heap of 4 stars. Not only do you jump 15 spots in the rankings, but this is maybe the most important part, and this is courtesy of the 247 composite. LSU has the 6th highest average rating per player, meaning, while, yes, you may look at the cumulative class rating, and that's ultimately how you have the rankings. Well, some of these schools, like Arkansas's got 20 commits. Notre Dame's got 19 commits. LSU's at 11. But the average rating per player, LSU is 6th nationally. So it's not about quantity, it's about quality. And the 11 commits that LSU has right now certainly are quality, and that's a very good thing. So Glen West of Go247, he's going to join us coming up here in about 10 minutes from right now. We'll talk about the prospects LSU got, who might be next in the queue, how the staff and this class is starting to shape up and shake up a little bit. and looking forward as well for the remainder of this class, what other needs are out there. So that's coming up here in a little bit. 1 hour from now, Ross Dellenger is going to be with us because we're going to talk about the latest news in with respect to expansion. Late last week, of course, we all learned that USC, UCLA, they're headed to the Big Ten. So it kind of begged the question of what is next, which is the very obvious question with respect to all of the realignment stuff. When this carousel starts to spin, everyone just starts having their opinions about where it's going to stop. And when you look at the Pac-12 losing its two most valuable entities, they lose the Los Angeles market, that goes to the Big Ten. And now you look at the Big 12, which had just added 4 schools, little brother type schools. The big question is, what do these two leagues do next? And there's been a lot of opinions about that. And some really good reporting from Dennis Dodd today from CBS Sports. He reported that the Big 12 is in deep discussions, his word, to add multiple Pac-12 programs as a way to shore up its membership in the wake of USC and UCLA leaving the conference. So the 4 that he mentioned specifically, Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah. So that's the news as of today from Dennis Dodd. Big 12 is pursuing those 4 schools from the Pac-12, and they could consider Oregon and Washington as well. Now, maybe of equal or greater significance, the Pac-12 today released a statement where they have approved immediately. I want to read this statement directly just so I don't mess it up. Here it is. This was tweeted this morning and shared this morning by the Pac-12. The Pac-12 Board of Directors met this morning and authorized the conference to immediately begin negotiations for its next media rights agreements. Okay, so let me unpack this just a little bit to kind of catch you up. And I'm not going to go deep dive into all the particulars because by now I'm going to assume there's a surface level understanding of all this for most people. And this is all about your rights, your media rights agreements and the payouts per conference, okay? That it's money. It's money driven. And it's why we talk about SEC fans say, well, add Clemson and Florida State. It doesn't make sense to add those schools. They've got to grow your pie big enough to where everybody gets a bigger share and you're not taking lesser shares to bring them in. Geographically, competitively, all that stuff, it makes sense. Financially, it doesn't. Okay. So what's happening right now, essentially, is the Big 12, which late last week said they were content to stand pat. Clearly was not the case. The Big 12, which just added Cincinnati, Central Florida, BYU, Houston. The Big 12 is now pursuing at least 4 Pac-12 schools, which would bring their membership to 18. Simultaneously, the Pac-10 is going to its media rights partners to negotiate a new deal with the 10 schools. The reason, of course, is they're hoping to beat the Big 12 to the punch, essentially saying, if we go negotiate our media rights deal before you can lure away our teams and we can have a lucrative enough deal here, then it would make sense for them to stay and not leave. Can you do that is the big question. I don't know why any network would actually engage in a conversation like this when you don't know what teams are actually going to be in the league. But it's a heady play by the Pac-12. It's really the only thing they can do. But this was the thing that was most fascinating. I think this illustrates it best. The difference, and I'm trying not to confuse you with numbers. I say it all the time. Numbers confuse people on radio. Graphics are better and all that sort of stuff, but you don't have that luxury on radio. So the difference in the earning value between the Big 12 and the Pac-12 would be negligible even after this round. Meaning, you take away USC and UCLA, and the earning value of the Pac-10 with those 10 schools is about the same as the Big 12 with 14 teams. You lose Texas and OU, you add the 4 they just added, and with 14 teams, their value is the same as the Pac-12 with 10, minus USC and UCLA. Get this. This is the big yo, which underscores the money part of this that I've tried to explain for so long. Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah, the 4 teams that the Big 12 is reportedly pursuing. Their annual average value at least matches the 12 members of the Big 12 remaining with the league post Texas and OU. Yo. Again, remove Texas and OU. Those 12 remaining members of the Big 12 have the same value. TCU, Baylor, Texas Tech, Kansas State, you know them all. Iowa State, Oklahoma State, like a bunch of schools that are just meh. Those 12 schools have the same annual average value as Arizona State, Colorado, Utah. Those 4 are the same value as the 12. Yo. That would be adding quality over quantity. That's a stunning number. It's an absolutely stunning number to see it. So we are going to talk about this with Ross Dellenger at the start of hour number 2 to go deep dive into what is the news today, what are the likelihoods, what are the timelines, is there a possibility, and there is a report that the Big 12 and Pac-12 could consider combining to form some type of super pact, and maybe that's the best way for each of them to maintain their survival. We'll talk about it and what actually happens with Notre Dame. There's also a report today from John Canzano, who's been a friend of the show for a long time, who was with the Oregonian for many years, has his own media business now, and does afternoon drive statewide in Oregon. He's reporting that the University of Oregon, Phil Knight, namely, wants Oregon to push to be in the Big Ten or the SEC. So Oregon administrators seem content now to remain in the Pac-10 to see how it plays out. But the biggest booster, the owner of Nike, wants Oregon to move to either the Big Ten or the SEC. So lots of irons in the fire. Obviously, lots of people who want to have their voice heard and how all of this is going to play out. And it doesn't seem like we're going to have a resolution anytime in the immediate future. But we'll get the latest from Delly in about an hour. All right, we're glad to have you aboard with us here. Let me knock out our first break of the show. When we come back, Glen West is going to join us from Go 247. We'll talk a little bit about the gigantic recruiting weekend that LSU had and what is next. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001 for River City's 1 Hour Air. Tell you every single day, go read the reviews. Or if you don't want to read the reviews, no worries. I mean, I read them for you here every day. Like this one was a 5-star review from David Haddock, who said, great people at 1 Hour Air. Thank you for your honesty, JJ. All caps, I will never call anyone else to work on our heating and air system. Again, a 5-star Google review about a real-life tech over at River City's 1 Hour Air. And remember, when you call River City's 1 Hour Air and you have a technician coming to the house, you will get a call, a text, and an email alerting you the technician's on the way with a photo of that technician, their name, and reviews of that actual tech so you know who's coming to your house. River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. 752-0001.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2021 Jeep Wranglers and Jeep Gladiators on our lot now with $5,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years, front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
Visit Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.
My own people call me an Uncle Tom. I play music. Been wined and dined by royalty. Trying to bring people together. All people. But regardless of all that kind of stuff, I'm still Louis Armstrong.
Here's the man you're waiting for, the king of jazz, Louis Satchmo Armstrong.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana, call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, rolling along here on a Tuesday. I'll get used to saying that all day. Probably slip at some point, say Monday. But it is a Tuesday edition of AFR. It was a massive holiday weekend for Brian Kelly and the LSU football recruiting staff. The Tigers nearly doubled their amount of commitments from a week ago, with 3 in total on the 4th of July alone. Our buddy Glen West from Go247, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes to talk some Cruton. Glenn, how are you, man?
Hey, Matt. Busy 4th for me, but wouldn't have it any other way. But thanks for having me on.
I could actually think of many other ways, like, hey, guys, wait till the 5th. Or even the 3rd. Either way would be good, just not the 4th, not on my day off. But, yes, it's sort of what we all sign up for. Was all of this expected?
Yeah, I would say so for the most part. I mean, a couple of those guys, a guy like Ashton Stamps, Deron Reed, those were guys that were on campus last month. In Stamps' case, the Metairie kid from Rummel who committed as the cornerback of the kind of the 4th defensive back of the class. He actually camped a couple times at LSU last month, and I think that's something that really resonated with this staff. Obviously, you want to get as many evals as possible, and a guy like Stamps coming on board and camping in front of the coaching staff really got a good close-up look at him. A great piece to add to this recruiting class, and guys that have kind of flown under the radar a little bit. But I would say so. I mean, we kind of heard some great intel on Jackson Howard, on Joshua Mickens, the two guys they got at the beginning of last weekend. And then obviously they were able to carry that momentum into Monday as well. And, it's just a big weekend for Jamar Cain in particular, who really kind of puts his stamp on this class and does a really tremendous job of bringing in 4 new linemen.
How has Jamar Cain been so effective so early with this class?
Yeah, so I think he came in with obviously a really great recruiting track record, but he kind of explained it, to us really back in, August, or I would say April, when we got to talk to him before spring camp is that, look, the LSU brand sells itself, and he kind of told us that, and kind of was going to be recruiting obviously to LSU, and I think the fact that he's gotten really a lot of great experience in various places around the country throughout his career. You see just some of the different areas that he dipped into with this class, whether it's Georgia or Minnesota, Indianapolis, and just kind of all over the place with these recruits, which I think is kind of showing, it's early form here. I think of the 11 commits LSU has, to date, 9 of them are out-of-state guys, and I think that's certainly a part of this. Recruiting staff as a whole has done a really nice job of branching out and obviously getting some of these out-of-state kids on board with what they're preaching to the program.
Glen West is with us from Go247. So you mentioned the out-of-state kids, and certainly, look, a great prospect is a great prospect no matter what. The question persists about the ability to recruit the best players in the state of Louisiana. Best you can tell, ear to ground, how much headway is being made there?
I think there is some headway being made. I think the fact that you're able to get some of these guys on campus in June for really just was a tremendously big time for this staff in terms of building those relationships with those in-state players. I do think that there's still some ground to make up, of course, but I think LSU feels really good about a guy like Shelton Sampson, a receiver here right in their backyard. Somebody they're going to continue to.
Where does he go to school, by the way?
I think I think another Catholic boy, right?
I thought so.
Yeah,
I thought I heard that. Yeah,
absolutely.
Never miss an opportunity, Glenn. I'll never miss an opportunity.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. I mean, they've produced obviously some really great players over the years, but I do think that it's still a TBD kind of thing. You gotta get them in first, and I think the fact that there's only a couple certainly leaves the room for improvement. But there are a lot of guys that I think they feel good about and will continue to be pursuing over the next several months.
Hey, Glenn, let's talk positions still ahead that they've got to address. So you got 4 defensive linemen for 23, 4 defensive backs as well. What's next? Where else are the positions of focus for this class?
Yeah, so I think there's certainly a few offensive line. You got to continue to build out the future of that position group. Would certainly expect LSU to pursue a number of receivers, running backs. There's a Caleb Jackson is the guy in New Orleans who I think LSU is very high on. They would really like to get him in the program, and obviously you bring in Frank Jackson for bringing in that exact type of player. So. I think your skills position players, obviously linebacker, I think is another area that you could afford to bring in 1 or 2 guys in this class. And I think really the big thing that we've kind of learned about over the last several months is the impact of not being limited to a 25-man class. And I think being able to branch out and maybe bring in a few more players than you're allowed to in past years will really help with this program and helping build up the depth at every position. So would certainly expect LSU to be heavily involved with O-line, with receiver, with linebacker, and obviously with the secondary too. I know they have 4 right now, but that's a group that has a lot of veterans, a lot of transfers in there right now. There's going to be a lot of turnover there for the next couple of years. So loading up in the secondary is going to be very important as well.
Do we know, Glenn, and you may not know the answer, it's fine, but do we have any idea what they're projecting the number may be for this recruiting cycle?
Yeah, we don't have a really great idea on that yet. I don't really know what they're thinking in terms of just how many guys they'd like to have as a part of this class. Sure. But it's going to be really important that you solidify a lot of these position groups up and kind of have something for the future at every position group. So I don't really have a clear answer on that.
For sure. Look, and Glenn, you got to let the season play out. There may be guys who are not projecting now that may leave early for the draft. You may have guys that transfer. There's always that possibility. But as you mentioned, there's no hard cap of 25 anymore, so they can sign over that number to get to 85. One thing I think is certain, I don't think we're going to see LSU taking 15 transfers again next offseason. I think those days, hopefully, knock on Formica, are done. Hey, before you go, I want to talk about each of the guys, maybe a little thumbnail if you could give us on each of the guys that has committed. You talked a little bit there a moment ago about Ashton Stamps from Rummel. What about the other 2 prospects that committed on the 4th? Let's start with Deshaun Womack.
Yeah, so Deshaun Womack, a guy who runs about 6'5", around 240, a guy who's going to be kind of an explosive edge for you. Really just a great athlete. I think he's already kind of eclipsed that 4.8 range in terms of the 40-yard dash, and has really done a tremendous job of building out his physical, profile. And I think he's a guy that obviously Kane can't wait to sink his teeth into.
And sorry, I'm refreshing my screen here. Who was the other prospect on the 4th of July? They were so
Ron Reed.
Was Reed? That's right, because Mickens came the day before. Okay, so yeah, on to Ron Reed.
Yeah, so he goes about 270. He's about 6'3", 6'4", but a guy who I could obviously profile is a kind of a outside guy, but could also have the physical presence to move inside as well. I think he's done a tremendous job of kind of exploring where he wants to go with with his future. But I think he's going to be a guy that you're going to really rely on as a solid depth piece for this group. Really can be as early as next year for them. He's done a tremendous job.
Yeah, 247 has him as a 4-star. The composite has him as a top 230 overall player. And what about, I mentioned Mickens as well. That's the guy who committed on Sunday, the day before the 4th.
Right.
A thumbnail there? Yeah,
another edge rusher, a guy who I think probably needs to put on some more weight before he's probably ready to play at a college level. But I think that's the case for a lot of these guys. You want to get some more weight on him and kind of get him into a college program. But certainly another physical freak who can help you in a lot of different ways, I think, as early as next year as well.
And he's from Indiana. Did he have a previous relationship with Brian Kelly?
I think so. Yeah, I do believe he was one of the guys that Coach Kelly was recruiting. Jackson Howard was another one, the guy that they got on Friday as well. They had a relationship going back to Notre Dame as well. So yeah, those are definitely a couple of guys, and having those relationships kind of already in the kind of their groundwork, their early start is, I think, really, really important for being able to land guys like that with a new staff.
He is Glen West on Twitter at GlenWest21. That's a 1N, Glen. GlenWest21. Go 247. Y'all give him a follow. Glen, we appreciate a couple of minutes, man. Thanks so much.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Matt. Thank you.
All right, man. Be well. We'll be in touch. Good stuff there from Glen. It is interesting. The numbers thing is going to be interesting as well, because remember, just as a reminder, so the hard cap is gone. So it used to be that you could only sign 25 unless if you undersigned and then would backfill, meaning if you signed 24 one year, well, the next year you could fill that spot. You could backfill that spot, so you could sign 26. Well, they've eliminated the hard cap. So now you can sign as many players as you need to get to 85, but you can't go over 85. So in a given year, like let's say you have a year where 2019 LSU, where you got a dozen guys taken in the draft and you lose so much talent, well, you can oversign to get yourself back up to 85. I know we talk about this often, but, in a 4-year cycle, if you sign 25 per year over a 4-year cycle, that's 100 scholarship players. You would think that with natural attrition, you're going to get to 85, but in so many instances you'd be below 85. That's what happened with LSU this year is we all know sort of infamously they played that bowl game with 39 available scholarship players, but they had low 50s on the roster, even though only 39 were available. You had some, like, for example, we talk about Nussmeier, who was healthy but didn't play. He voluntarily sat out of the game. Or any player that is still on scholarship. John Emery was on scholarship, obviously wasn't available. So there was low 50s. Well, even if you add 25, you're still not at 85. Now, that was an extreme situation, but that happens often where you may not be 10 short of 85, but if you're 2 or 3 short, and then you go through a season where you have injuries and opt-outs and other attrition, your numbers keep getting lower and lower and lower, and that's the problem they're trying to fix with this rule. I think it's a great thing. So we will see ultimately what that number is that they'll land on, and maybe what becomes more a sort of consistent number that schools tend to land on. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Hope you had a great holiday weekend. We'll knock out a quick break and go around the SEC when we come back. Stick around. It is AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling a home, call Darren James and get your home sold. It is still a great time, no matter what you may think about the market right now and where it is. But as Darren points out so often, home ownership builds your net worth. The housing wealth gain on a typical existing home purchase right now, over 30 years, is almost $360,000. In 5 years, it's $155,000. It's incredible. That's how you'll build wealth. So if you're thinking about buying a home, it's a great time to do that, and you can call Darren James. Or if for whatever reason, look, maybe this is the time of year where you get transferred for work, kids are out of school, this is the time when you're going to sell your home and move. Call Darren James. Nobody gives you better customer service and gets results like Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
My own people call me an Uncle Tom. I play music. Been wined and dined by royalty. Trying to bring people together. All people. But regardless of all that kind of stuff, I'm still Louis Armstrong.
Here's the man you're waiting for, the king of jazz, Louis Armstrong.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana.
Some people call me the space cowboy. Yeah. Some call me the gangster of love. Some people call me.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, rolling along. Glad to have you aboard with us here. And sometimes things work out splendidly from a timing standpoint in live radio, and sometimes they absolutely suck. This is one of those instances where the timing absolutely sucked. We just had Glen West on from Go 247 talking about the recruiting haul that LSU got over the 4th of July weekend. And literally while we were on the phone with Glen, another commit dropped. This time, Xavier Atkins has committed for the class of 2023 for LSU. He's a linebacker. So a few of the details that we have on Atkins, I'm actually literally trying to pull all this up as we're talking. So Xavier Atkins, a linebacker out of Jonesboro Hodge. So that is an in-state prospect, which is certainly good to see, as we've talked about. He's a 3-star, 6-foot, 200-pounder, number 347 nationally. Offers from his Power 5 offers Missouri, Oklahoma State, also Louisiana Tech, Grambling. Obviously, North Louisiana kid would draw interest there. So he is I'm sorry, I said 23. He's a 2024 prospect, a linebacker for 2024. So a long way to go. Obviously, still in his recruitment, but you're talking about a guy that'll have plenty of opportunity to increase that star ranking and all that stuff. But you camp at LSU, the staff gets a chance to put eyes on you. They like you, and they take you. You commit. So a jump start for 2024 for LSU as Xavier. So it's Xavier, Xavier Atkins, Atkins, Xavier Atkins out of Jonesboro Hodge has committed for LSU's 2024 class. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us. Love telling you about Michele Weighing and Measurement, Michele.com, Michele.com. You know where to find them online at Michele.com. 75 years in business for Michele Weighing and Measurement, and great place if you're looking to start a career as well. You can always go to the website at Michele.com, hit that careers tab right at the top, and you can learn how you can apply for careers at Michele and what positions are presently open. A family, locally owned and operated business for 75 years that has grown sea to shining sea. And if you're interested in a career, you can learn more there at Michele.com. Michele.com for Michele Weighing and Measurement, Michele.com. All right, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Kentucky Wildcats.
Running back Chris Rodriguez has accepted a guilty plea from the prosecution at a pre-trial conference on Tuesday. He was arrested back in May and charged with DUI, also no tail lamps, careless driving, and, as I mentioned, DUI. So he'll have his driver's license suspended 4 to 6 months. He'll have to pay a fine. He does avoid jail time, and he'll have to participate in an alcohol driver program. You might remember Rodriguez was first team All-SEC a season ago.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
All right, the recruiting haul was not just limited to LSU on the 4th of July. Darn near half the league picked up commitments as well. Alabama added a JUCO recruit, the 2023 number 1 JUCO prospect, Malik Benson, out of Hutchinson. He is a receiver, 6'1", 185, committed to the Tide over Georgia, Tennessee, and LSU, among others. Alabama now with 11 verbal commitments for the class of 2023.
The Auburn Tigers.
Carmelo English has committed to Auburn, doing so on the 4th of July. He, too, is a receiver, 5'11", 175. He's out of the state of Alabama, ranked as the number 66 overall prospect in the country. He picked Brian Harsin and the Tigers. He's the first ESPN 300 receiver to pledge to the Tigers since 2020.
The Florida Gators.
4-star edge rusher TJ Searcy, he has committed to the Florida Gators. Picked the Gators over Clemson, Tennessee, and South Carolina. Gators 2023 class currently sits at 9 verbal commitments. Searcy is the nation's number 153 overall prospect for the class of 2023.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Gamecocks also got a 4-star. This time linebacker Jaden Robinson announced his commitment to Frank Beamer and the squad. That's now 13 commits for South Carolina here in the class of 2023. Picked Carolina over Kentucky, Louisville, Maryland, and Michigan. Robinson is the number 33 overall linebacker in the class of 2023. He's the 72nd player, best player from the state of Florida.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
And Arkansas got a 4-star wide receiver to pledge. Micah Tease is his name. He picked the Hogs over, a whole bunch of schools, including Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Alabama, Florida, Iowa State, and others. 5'11", 180. He's the 20th commitment for Arkansas's class of 2023. Actually, the second verbal commitment of the day for Arkansas. 3-star offensive lineman Paris Patterson also committed to Arkansas. And there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com. For Gulf Coast Office Products, face-to-face sales, service after the sale. That's what you get at Gulf Coast Office Products. Remember, a national leader among Savin dealers, but they will sell and service all different makes and models. That's Gulf Coast Office Products. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, North Shore, and Lafayette, the official office equipment provider of the LSU Tigers, the New Orleans Saints, the New Orleans Pelicans, and the ULL Raging Cajuns. Some sad news around sports media. Hank Goldberg, known as Hammerin' Hank, he died actually Tuesday on his birthday. He was 82 years old, and he apparently had been struggling with chronic kidney disease in recent years. Jeremy Schaap did a really nice feature at ESPN. You can see it on social media on Hank Goldberg, who, look, if you're my age, or I guess anyone even older than me, you kind of grew up with Hank Goldberg on Countdown. I mean, Chris Berman doing the segments with Hank Goldberg every week were a staple of your NFL Sundays, and it's funny because I'm certain my good friend Richard Condon is going to mention this because I can also remember working with Condon for years, and he would always laugh at Hank Goldberg because his record always seemed to be just plummeting below 500 on his picks. But, fact check, the release from ESPN said that Hank Goldberg was 500 or better in 15 of the 17 NFL seasons that he predicted games while working for ESPN. So, actually, pretty solid. And, look, was a fixture also in Miami for a long time. He was a local radio and TV guy for 25 years. He was a Dolphins analyst. So, Hammerin' Hank, as he was known, was just a part of media and sports betting for decades. And the crazy thing is how far ahead of his time he really was. I mean, if you just think about today with sports betting and mobile sports betting being legal, like Hank Goldberg was, think about what he would be worth today when all of these different sports betting, sites, and obviously we have a deal with DraftKings, but I mean, every single sports betting outlet, every platform is all looking for influencers and content producers. I mean, we've talked about the deal that Pat McAfee did with FanDuel. It's just massive. You think about a guy like this who more than 30 years ago, 40 years ago, was doing this, putting out sports betting information, which was just sort of unheard of then, and now you can't avoid it. Like every day when we finish up the show here, I'm looking at the monitor in studio. We had 4 TVs up here, and one of them is on, I guess, ESPN2, and it's a sports betting show that they have every day on TV where they're giving lines and picks. It's a scroll, looks like the stock market, but it's sports betting. I mean, that's what this guy was doing 40 years ago. So rest in peace, Hammerin' Hank. He was 82, lived a long, great life. I don't know that, certainly condolences to his friends and family and those that knew him well. But, when you live a long, full life, it's tough to be sad when someone like that passes. But you're just grateful for the life they live, and you honor and respect them. So Hammerin' Hank, 82 years old, dies today on his birthday, incidentally. So a part of many of our football Sundays for many, many years. May he rest in peace. All right, it's after further review. We appreciate y'all for being with us here. I hope you had a great 4th of July. Muso's back. We'll find out about how the 420 cruise went coming up here in just a little bit. Dellenger in about 17 minutes. Hey, let me remind you about HUDCO Roofing and HUDCOroofing.com. Do business with someone you know. I tell you that every day. As a matter of fact, hang on. I got an email earlier today, and I want to share it with you. Got an email from a guy named James. Last name, I won't tell you his last name. But he said, Matt, I'm writing you an email. Feel free to use any of these points. Talk about HUDCO. He said, unfortunately, I'm writing about the voice of experience. He said, storm chasers will come to an area after a storm or hurricane. And what they do now is set up an office in your city for 6 months or a year, make it look like they have a permanent office in your city. Well, when something happens to your roof, as happened to mine, they no longer have an office in your city, and you're in Louisiana dealing with somebody in Texas or another state, hoping you can get in touch with who installed your roof. They can't come fix it. What are you going to do? Go to Texas and find them? Anyway, that was an email I got from James because it underscores something that I've talked about so many times. When I say do business with someone you know, that's the point with HUDCO. We're Louisiana-owned, Louisiana-operated, Louisiana-run by Louisiana people using Louisiana products and Louisiana shingles. HUDCO Roofing. Do business with someone you know. Look, there's terrible rain outside right now. If you're experiencing that, you have a leak in your house, a leak in your roof, you're not sure if you have roof damage, we'll always come give you a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. HUDCO Roofing and HUDCOroofing.com. Do business with someone you know. HUDCO Roofing and HUDCOroofing.com. All right, quick break. We'll wrap up hour number 1. Dellenger in 15 minutes. Stick here.
AFR.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Service Mastery Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Mastery Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
And free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
The 15-time champion of the world, with 63 Nathan's famous hot dogs and buns. Look on his works, ye mighty, and despair, for he has surpassed the kings of Egypt, and the rock on which he stands is not a rock, It is the United States of America. With 63 Nathan's Famous hot dogs and buns for his 15th championship, Joey Chestnut.
That's a little disgusting. And look, Joey Chestnut sat in this studio this past fall. He was here for that Fat Boys Pizza thing, and he sat right there, and we talked and had a good time, and he was a hell of a nice guy, and I'm happy to see that he won. I think we're all just a little bored with the hot dog thing now. Do we agree? I think there was a time when Kobayashi was eating like 1 million hot dogs, and people were just awed. And then when he finally got beaten, it became a thing. And now it's like, well, Joey Chestnut's success is so vast that it's just kind of boring. What is not boring, hell of a nice guy, though. I'm proud of him, happy for him. What was not boring was the fact that you had a protester run on stage and Joey Chestnut grabbed that son of a bugger by the neck. I mean, if only everybody, like, this is exactly how you handle protests. I mean, every now and again, we'll see an NFL player just form tackle some loser that's running out on the field. Chestnut, I don't know what the sign says that the person had. It doesn't really even matter. But this idiot's in like a black mask and has a sign and like came and ran right up on Chestnut because he knew Chestnut was in the middle and was going to be on TV. And Chestnut's got a mouthful of hot dogs and buns. I mean, probably was damn near close to choking. And once he paused, once he realized what happened, I mean, he just threw his arm, his bicep around this cat's neck and snapped him back. That was awesome. I mean, that's the highlight. Otherwise, I don't even think I'd be talking about the hot dog eating contest anymore. It's just not interesting. It'll be interesting again if someone comes up and beats Joey Chestnut. I think it's the only way it'll ever be interesting again. But congrats to Joey Chestnut, but this is how he was there on a broken leg as well or something like that. He had a cast. He was on crutches. This is how he said his leg feels post contest.
It hurts, but I was in the dome pretty good for a little bit, and I was ignoring it, and I slowed down, but it was a crazy contest. I'm happy I was able to come through on top.
Yeah, I mean, his leg has literally nothing to do with eating hot dogs at all. But
it's an ailment. It's an ailment. Okay.
Do you know when you really would like a lot of hot dogs?
On the 4th of July, it's a staple. After
a 420 cruise. So we welcome back Muso. How many hot dogs did you eat on your 420 cruise there, Muso?
I didn't go on a 420 cruise. I was at the beach. You know this.
I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah, you did. You know that. It's not where I was.
You told me that, but that doesn't mean that's where you were. I didn't see you. There's no visual proof that you were at the beach.
There's plenty of visual proof.
Not that I saw.
Not that you saw.
By the way, Greg Lane sent an email. It said, Matt, I was at the same beach as Muso last week. Said, please pass on a thank you to him. As we were located downwind, had no issue with bugs as the smoke kept them away. We did have to run to a store and grab additional snacks, and we were developed unexpected munchies. Regards, Greg Lane. So you got some fans, Muse.
I mean,
Muse, you had some fans there at the beach.
Yeah.
How about it?
I mean, that's great, but there was no nefarious acts of smoking that took place at the beach at all. Copious amounts of sun were consumed. That was nice, along with adult beverages.
Edibles?
No.
Yep.
Zero. Never had one in my life.
Gummies.
Nope.
Brownies. Suckers. Got them in lots of forms at the dispensaries there. Muse.
I wouldn't know.
I think you're just being a little coy right now.
No.
Sounds like you're being really defensive.
I'm not
trying
defensive.
to convince people of something that we all likely know is true anyway.
I have nothing to convince anybody of. I am my own person.
Never end a sentence in a preposition, Muse.
That's fact.
You're
That's
better
true.
than that. You should be better than that. You're a Manship alum.
Proud of it, too.
Yes. Okay. Well, Muso's back just in time to have all this insane, absurd conference realignment talk. We are going to talk to Andrew Lopez bottom of next hour, so about 35 minutes from right now. On Friday, when we were here with Terrio, like during the show, at the very end of the show is when a lot of the KD Pelicans trade talk was happening. So we kind of reacted on the fly to it. I'll ask Andrew Lopez about that a bit when he's with us in 35 minutes. And I'll also talk to him a little bit about Zion's contract and what we know. Zion can officially sign the deal They've agreed to it. As I understand, he can officially sign it tomorrow. So what protections are in there for New Orleans? What's next as they build this roster? We'll get into that in about 35 minutes, again, with Andrew Lopez, our buddy from ESPN.com. When we come back, Ross Dellenger is going to be here, though, from SI. We'll delve into what we know about what's next for conference realignment with USC and UCLA formally and officially headed to the Big Ten. So we know the LA market is joining up with the Big Ten. We know all of the things that have been discussed. What do we know and what is likely? We're going to get into that with Ross Dellenger coming up right after SportsCenter. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. You can always email us, tweet us. You can text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Hour number 2 starts off with Ross Dellenger coming up after SportsCenter.
AFR.
Let me tell you about Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com, bumper-to-bumper auto service, and name brand tires at wholesale prices. You know where to find them online at ShawbillsTire.com. Yeah, 4th of July weekend has passed, but the summer is still here. If you're going to get that final summer vacation in before you head back to school, make sure you bring the car to Shawbills. ShawbillsTire.com to find that location nearest you. 18 locations in all. Newest location in Livingston Parish there in Denham Springs. So the LP, you got your own Shawbills now. So you can log on. You can learn about all of the promotions that they are offering right now at ShawbillsTire.com. Remember, they will give you the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible. They will sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. And be sure to ask about the Shawbills credit card. You always get great discount services and products with the Shawbills credit card. ShawbillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off new Ford F-150s. We have new 2021 F-150s on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
My own people call me an Uncle Tom. I play music. Been wined and dined by royalty. Trying to bring people together. All people. But regardless of all that kind of stuff, I'm still Louis Armstrong.
Here's the man you're waiting for, the king of jazz, Louis Armstrong.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Down 2 sets early, 6-time Wimbledon champion Novak Djokovic rallied to beat Jannik Sinner in the quarterfinals today. It was a 26th straight Wimbledon victory for Djokovic. From ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, NBA free agent forward TJ Warren agreed to a one-year deal with the Nets. The signing comes amid a turbulent offseason for Brooklyn, which got a trade request last week from Kevin Durant, also faces uncertainty about Kyrie Irving's future. The Lakers reportedly one of the teams inquiring about Kyrie. Howard J. Williams.
I think LeBron James and him are extremely compatible. I think they're more compatible than KD and Kyrie because of how you can put them in pick and rolls, because how they can play off each other, because of LeBron is such an incredible facilitator. It allows Kyrie to play off the ball.
JF Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Tiger Woods said today he skipped the U.S. Open because he had some issues with his surgically repaired right leg and didn't want to jeopardize his chances of playing in this month's British Open. The Sharks hiring Mike Greer as their general manager. He will become the first black man in the history of the NHL to hold a GM position.
When you're trying to hire, all that searching, screening, and interviewing can become its own job. You need Indeed, the end-to-end hiring solution that makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR. Presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt. I am sweating. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Andrew Lopez, ESPN.com, bottom of this hour. Zion's contract, KD to the Pels. We'll sort it all out in about 30 minutes. Ross Dellenger is good enough to join us right now, SI.com, as the college football realignment world turns. Delly, how are you, man?
Good, Matt. How you doing?
That was a very delayed good, Matt. How are you doing?
Yeah.
Wait, so you were on vacation last week when all hell broke loose?
I was 5 minutes into vacation. Basically, I'd stepped in my Destin, Florida condo, and I was there for less than 10 minutes, and we got the text about USC and UCLA. So yeah, my day one of vacation didn't happen.
Oh God, such is life in this business. So, did you have any sort of forewarning that the bombshell from Los Angeles was coming?
No, not at all. I don't think very many did. I think it was a lot like the Texas and Oklahoma stuff, right? It was kept really quiet. There are only, I think most of the time through these negotiations, there are only a handful of probably single digits of people who know. And then as it gets closer and closer to being done, and this was way further along than Texas and Oklahoma. I mean, this thing was way. I mean, it's basically done. It was done the night that it broke, and it was planned to be done, from what I understand, the night that it broke. So it was kept very, very quiet, and like I said, a lot of these things normally are, and but this one especially, man, it was kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, I was at NACDA, which is a gathering of all the athletic directors, associate athletic directors in Las Vegas. There were 6,000 college athletic department people there, ranging from Division I, II, III, even NAIA, and that's where I kind of got the tip, and we were able to break the news about the new Big 12 commissioner. But I got no such tip about USC and UCLA joining the Big Ten. That was not. There was nothing there. No buzz there at all about that.
Okay. All right. So they did a great job of keeping this under wraps. The news breaks last week, and now everybody goes into the what's next mode, which is pretty natural because when one domino falls, others invariably will fall. Most of the focus, Ross, has been on the Pac-12 and the Big 12 and what happens next. Okay. Let's start with Oregon and Washington because the word kind of seemed like they would be next for the Big Ten. Why are they seemingly not destined for the Big Ten?
Well, let me say this. Any definitive reporting on anything right now should be taken with a grain of salt. We're in a time, it kind of reminds me of coaching silly season. I kind of call it, conference realignment silly season. Mm-hmm. There is just so much fluidity with all this. And there's so many discussions, I think, being had among schools with different conferences about different things that it's really hard right now to get a handle on things. And I know there's been some definitive reporting on some things that involve Washington and Oregon. Again, a grain of salt, Matt. Okay. I don't necessarily think, that those things are completely over, discussions between the Big Ten and Washington and Oregon. I don't know what to think now because it's so fluid. So I know there's a sense out there that, that's it, the Big Ten's going to stop unless Notre Dame wants in or something like that. I don't know if that's true. I really don't. In a lot of ways right now, I don't know what's true. There was a report this morning about the Big 12 pursuing Pac-12 members, and they're in deep discussion. And guess what happened today after that? Every school that was mentioned, not only that, but several other reports have come out debunking that report. This is how conference realignment silly season goes, right? It's hard to wrap your mind around what's real, what's not, what's serious, and what's not. And what's news and what's not. Is it news that an AD called up an AD in another league and was like, hey, what do you think about us joining you guys? That would be kind of cool, right? It would be beneficial for all of us. Oh, yeah, let me check. Let me talk to my commissioner and see. That happens all the time. That has happened for years. So it's just hard right now. Everything is just so fluid. But to get back to your original question, mm-hmm. I think that Washington and Oregon are very attractive teams for the Big Ten and for the Big 12. And I would imagine they'll remain attractive teams. There's some political issues, and that's been reported about, of separating Washington and Washington State and Oregon State, separating those from each other. There's some political issues within the state, I know, that's been reported about. So that's a wrinkle to keep in mind about those schools.
You also mentioned Notre Dame. My understanding, Ross, is that Notre Dame is contractually obligated to join the ACC if they join a football conference. Why then is there so much conversation about Notre Dame in the Big Ten? I'm legit asking, how could they possibly get out of that ACC deal?
Well, I think it's the same reason why, any team could get out of any other contract, right? Like their money, enough money changes contracts, right? So if there is some kind of exit penalty or whatever, and I think that's been written about a little bit, there is maybe a way out if you pay a certain amount. It's kind of like Texas and Oklahoma, right? There's been some buzz that they might maybe at the earliest come to the SEC a year early, but it would again take the checkbook coming out. So money changes things, and I think that probably is the case with Notre Dame. Pat Forty, my colleague, talked to some people around college football, wrote a story yesterday, about Notre Dame in their situation. And if I'm reading between the lines of that story, that column that he wrote, and it's pretty clear to me that Notre Dame wants to remain independent. that they really they don't want to join a conference. And I think that if they were to join a conference, a lot of people would think that they would join the ACC. And that would allow the ACC to renegotiate its TV contract, which would be really significant because the ACC is in a bad TV contract that goes 14 more years. And they're going to be way behind the Big Ten and SEC and maybe the Big 12, depending on what happens with their media rights deal. So, it's been pretty clear for years now. The Big Ten wants Notre Dame, right? It's been like 30 years of flirtation with the Big Ten trying to get Notre Dame. And of all the times, this would seem like the ideal time for finally the Irish to say, okay, we're done with independency. Let's give the Big Ten because this big new media rights deal is there, and our normal partner in USC that we play every year, our annual rivalry, hey, that's there, and all these other big games that we could have, and all. And, again, the media rights deal, right? Money talks. Like, I think the Big Ten's media rights deal will be more, will be distributed. Notre Dame will get distributed more from the Big Ten media rights deal than they would their independent NBC deal. So, it's just about money, really, Matt. And if they want to get out of certain contracts, spend enough money to get out, because in the end, it might be worth getting out. It's like a lot of these ACC teams, right? They're in a binding grant of rights. It's like $100 million, I think, for the ACC teams to get out of this thing that they're stuck in, kind of. $100 million. Well, every year it goes down. So at some point, it's probably going to become, it's probably going to make sense to pay that and get out and join a league, Big Ten or SEC, maybe that have bigger media rights deals and TV contracts.
He's on Twitter at Ross Dellenger. Okay, last thing. And I could ask a million questions, but we'll leave it at this.
Right.
Does a Big 12, Pac-12 merger make sense?
I mean, not really. From talking to people within the industry, not really. So you'd have 10 teams in the Pac-12. Now Pac-10, right, or whatever you want to call it. And then it's going to be 4 or 12. Wait, hold on.
They're going to go to 14. Yeah. So they had 12. Yeah, they lose 2. No, wait. They had 4, 12.
No,
12, 2,
no, they
4,
actually
add 4.
It would be 12.
2. Yeah.
Texas and Oklahoma league. Yeah. So it'd be 12. So that would be a 22-team league is what I'm getting at.
Right.
And that means you distribute TV money 22 different ways. That's a lot of splitting of TV money. So when you ask, does it make sense? I think the biggest thing, number one, is what would the TV contract be? Would a merger, would a Pac-12, Big 12 merger produce a TV contract that's going to be big enough to where the distribution to each school on an annual basis is bigger, is more, than what they have coming to them now as they're separate. And I don't know the answer to that. I think a lot of people think it's kind of negligible. Like it'll be basically the same, like a Big 12 school would basically get the same distribution as they would if they merged with the Pac-12. I think a lot of people believe that. Now here, and that's why I think you're seeing reports and buzz, and we wrote about it last Thursday, it's nothing new, that the Big 12 is probably interested in taking some of the Pac-12 teams. Because if they take a few of their teams, it probably does drive up their media rights number. And then you don't have to split with 22 teams, maybe you split with 14 or 16. So that's in order in this also, when you expand conferences, when the conference expansion happens, the annual distribution for the TV contract to each team is that's like the number one thing usually. As you look at that number, if it increases by adding X team, right, then maybe you add X team. If it decreases, why are you adding X team? And I think the Big Ten saw that obviously adding USC, for sure USC, and to an extent UCLA, probably not to the degree, that number, that annual number, goes up.
And you know the best part of all this, Ross? The best part?
Mm-hmm.
Fewer games between the Power 5 and the little schools that nobody actually cares about. That's the best part of all of it, Ross. The best part of all of it. That college football elitists like me get to stop watching all the stupid games that nobody cares about. So take that. Take that, Dellenger.
I knew that was coming.
I'm sure you did. All right. Thank you as always. We'll talk to you soon. Glad you got some vacation in there.
All right, Matt. Thanks.
All right. That is Ross Dellenger, si.com. He's on Twitter at Ross Dellenger. Give him a follow. All those guys that cover college football on the national level, man, they got their work cut out for them. As you heard Ross talk about it, it's really difficult to sift through what is real, what is not, what is newsworthy, and what is not, what is theory and what is likely, and it's an unenviable job right now to try to sift through all of it. But that's why those guys are there, all racing to see who's going to sort out this college football puzzle as it continues. Okay, the Pelicans roster puzzle continues to be sorted out. Bottom of this hour, we'll talk to Andrew Lopez about that. When we come back, a little LSU baseball news. 2 current Tigers make the collegiate national team, and another Tiger's on the coaching staff. Talk about that. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers Nicholson, just south of campus. Bluebonnet, right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Remember, it's Tuesday. Yesterday was Monday, of course. So it's Tuesday. Kids eat free. Man, if you need to get the kids out of the house, have a good time, Tuesday is a great chance to do it, affordably as well. Get by either Pluckers location. Remember, all night, all day Tuesdays, kids eat free. So, parents, get the kids, get them in the car, get them out the house, go to Pluckers, let them run around. Well, not literally run around the restaurant, but, have a good time, eat some dinner affordably, have a night, watch some sports on TV, maybe have a brew as well. It's at Pluckers, Nicholson or Bluebonnet. Remember, tonight and every Tuesday at the Nicholson location, sports trivia. Our buddy Hunt Palmer does the honors, hosting 5 rounds live action trivia. Eat wings, drink beer, test your sports knowledge, win Pluckers gift cards. It's a great night every night to get by Pluckers. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Pluckers, if you don't like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2021 Jeep Wranglers and Jeep Gladiators on our lot now with $5,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not 1, but 2 NMEA certified techs. Family owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years. Front to Back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Visit Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.
My own people call me an Uncle Tom. I play music. Been wined and dined by royalty. Trying to bring people together. All people. But regardless of all that kind of stuff, I'm still Louis Armstrong.
Here's the man you're waiting for, the king of jazz, Louis Satchmo Armstrong.
Vizzy, the first hard seltzer with antioxidant vitamin C.
It just hits different. Vizzy. Step up your seltzer game.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana, call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Hey, congrats to a couple of current LSU Tigers. The roster has been released for the USA Collegiate National Team. Of course, Trey Morgan and Dylan Cruz were both working out with the Collegiate National Team up in Cary, North Carolina. Dylan Cruz was absolutely in fuego up there, but both have made the team. That probably shouldn't really come as any great surprise. Both are awesome, and Dylan Cruz was on the team last year as well. But Dylan Cruz and Trey Morgan are part of the 26-man Collegiate National Team that's going to head up to the Netherlands to play at Honk Balweek, Haarlem? Anybody? Muse? Got anything there?
Never heard of that place in my life.
Paulie? They teach you that in geography in Central?
Yeah, I got nothing.
Honkbalweek. 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 Haarlem. Haarlem. Honkbalweek, Haarlem in the Netherlands. Anyway, so they're going to play at Pim Mulier Stadium from July 8th through the 15th. So it's this Friday through next week. Those guys will get to participate. You've got 17 schools represented. 5 schools on the roster have multiple players on the roster. Florida State, Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, Wake Forest, and, of course, LSU. Also of note, aside from Cruz and Morgan, Tanner Hall, Zachary native, who's pitcher at Southern Miss. He also made the team, as did Hurston Waldrop, who is now in the transfer portal. But LSU became very familiar with both of those guys this past year. So congrats to Dylan Cruz and to Trey Morgan. Interestingly enough, Mike Bianco is managing Team USA. But in the release from Team USA, they also mentioned Mike Bianco's staff. And on the staff, they mention that Mike Bianco will be leading, the team, and he'll be joined on staff by Zan Barksdale. And how about that? Drew Bianco is joining Mike Bianco's staff. That has got to be somewhat unprecedented, that someone who is still an active college player is going to be on the collegiate national team as a staff member, but Drew Bianco is doing just that. Of course, Drew Bianco, if you missed it over the weekend or over the holiday, announced that he's going to play at Houston. Of course, several weeks back when Terrio and Ronnie were here, told you that he was very likely to enter the portal, likely go play for his dad and sit on the bench and be a coach, sort of like learn to be a coach and probably be a GA and sort of go that way. But Drew's going to play his final season at Houston, then very likely go on staff with his dad as an opportunity to get into coaching. But here's that start right there. So congrats to Drew Bianco as well, who will be on staff for the collegiate national team. One other quick baseball note we'll get to here in a second. Let me remind you about DraftKings. I don't know that you can bet on Team USA at DraftKings, but you can bet on darn near anything else there at DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Again, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. You've always got great stuff to bet on. If it's Major League Baseball, we got Otter Locks coming up. Otter will give you some picks. If it's NFL or college football futures, if it's MMA, you got Wimbledon going on right now, golf every week. Whatever sport you want to bet on, you can do so at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. And remember, right now, for new customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the promo code Baton Rouge. They'll give you up to $1,000 in a risk-free bet, up to $1,000 your first bet. So whatever you want to bet on, up to $1,000 risk-free. If you hit, awesome. If not, no worries. You get another stab at it. That's right now at the DraftKings Sportsbook app for new customers. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Get up to $1,000 risk-free bet for your first bet there at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Availability varies by parish. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full terms and conditions. Licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-7-STOP. The other bit of baseball news that's kind of relevant right now is that the signees in this number one rated class are showing up. George Jones tweeted earlier today. He's the father of Jared Jones, the catcher out of Georgia. He tweeted, "Calling Baton Rouge, officially moving at Bear Jones _3 onto campus." There's a picture of the family there. So Jones is a highly rated catching prospect in this LSU signing class. And I know Gavin Guidry put on social that he's on campus as well. I just want to point something out. While that's very exciting, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're foregoing signing out of the draft. It just means, like, it's time to show up on campus. And the timeline is kind of screwed up now, obviously, with the draft being later. But the most sort of infamous example is Zach Lee. I mean, Zach Lee was practicing in fall camp with LSU football. He was there one day for practice, and then the Dodgers offered him $6 million, and then he wasn't there the next day. I think it was Miguel Cairo's son, if I'm not. I remember this story because I think Nolan Kane shared this with me. Miguel Cairo's son had signed with LSU. He was on campus, and he was literally registering for classes. Like, he was on campus physically registering for classes, and he got a call that he had been picked, and they gave him the number he wanted, and then he left. I mean, they had the kid here on campus. So, again, it's very exciting to see those guys here, no doubt. But just keep in mind, like, if you're going to enroll in summer school this session and then be here for summer and then into the fall, you're here now because they're about to start. So you still have to wait to see what happens with the draft, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. It's the 17th through the 19th, and we'll have a much better sense of who is actually going to, of this signing class, is actually going to end up a part of this team for 2023, and then presumably for the next 2 or 3 years. So, or 4 years. But anyway, so yes, exciting to see these guys. Just remember, you don't really know definitively until the draft comes and goes and we see where they're taken or if they're taken. All right, it's after further review. Glad to have you aboard with us here. We'll knock out a break. When we come back, Andrew Lopez is going to join us. Zion can officially sign his contract tomorrow. We know that they have agreed to a number, what kind of provisions and protections are in there, and also the Kevin Durant storyline. How legitimate is the Kevin Durant, New Orleans Pelicans trade conversation? We'll ask Andrew Lopez of ESPN.com next.
AFR.
Storms are part of our reality living in Louisiana. Power outages come along with storms. And if you're like I have been for many, many years, when power goes out, you're packing up your life and moving to a relative's house that has power. I'll never do that again, thanks to Schutz Electric. We called Schutz Electric. They installed a home standby generator from Generac at our home. Now, when the power goes out again, our Generac generator from Schutz will turn on immediately and power our entire home. Yes, even the pool. So, Schutz Electric. One thing to keep in mind. Well, a couple things. Number one, it's super affordable. Like technology, like with TVs have advanced and prices have come down, that's the same with generators. It's more affordable than you think, and financing is available. Also with Schutz, they have a generator division. In-house installers, they handle everything like permitting with the city and all of it. They take all of the guesswork out of it. Schutz Electric. CESofLA.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, it's a huge, huge time, just collectively in the history of the Pelicans organization. They made the playoffs. You have so much anticipation and excitement around the franchise right now. Zion Williamson's contract apparently is done, and there's this conversation about Kevin Durant. It's so formative right now, which is why there's a tremendous amount of interest, maybe the most interest that there's ever been in a Pelicans or /Hornets offseason, save drafting Zion or drafting Anthony Davis with the first overall pick. Andrew Lopez joins us now to talk about some of these scenarios. Hey, man, thanks for the time. How are you?
Hey, no problem. And to that point of the interest being there, I think it's also a different level of interest, right? Because when they were the #1 picks, you're looking, okay, what's the future hold? Because this guy is, a generational type talent who we're taking #1 overall. And now you're looking at it from the perspective of, okay, what can this team do this year, and the expectations that are there, being in these different conversations and whatnot. So I do think it is probably the most anticipated offseason or talked about offseason that they've had in a while.
Okay, answer that question, because that'll be actually a good jumping off point for everything else we discuss. Healthy Zion, roster as is, what can they do this season?
I think they could be a team who can make at least a one-round jump in the playoffs. Obviously, depending on how things go, that makes you a top 4 team in the West.
Okay.
Obviously, if that's I don't think that's just like the end all of where you're at. I think there's different things that you can do. Obviously, moves still to be made if certain players come out west instead of going staying put or going to the east. I mean, that still kind of remains to be seen where the big Kyrie and Kevin Durant dominoes fall. But just now, let's just say as is, You take this 15 in. You don't. There's no Devontae move, Jackson move. Nobody else's move. I still think this is a team that can win a first-round playoff series for sure next year. You take a team who pushed the Phoenix Suns to 6 games, and you add somebody who was averaging 27 and 7 the last time we saw him on 61% shooting, something nobody's done in NBA history, is shoot that well from the field and still score the way you did. I figured you're going to take a jump as a franchise, and I think they expect to as well.
Okay, let's talk about Zion. That's obviously who you're referring to there. I mean, a otherworldly type performer when he's been on the floor, but in 3 years, he's played about a season of combined basketball. So let's talk about the contract. What did he get, Andrew? And because there's also been talk about these sort of protections for New Orleans. Any idea what has worked in there yet?
Right now, we do not. Everybody is being tight-lipped both on Zion's side and the Pelicans side. Nobody really wants to say what's happening. We don't really don't know if it's a team option. Is there a player option on the 5th year? Is there no option? We don't know that. We don't know what the protections are. I would think there is some level of protection. And look, that's been a thing in NBA contract. Like, guys you wouldn't even think of have had protections in their deals. Okay. So that part itself isn't, completely foreign to think of. And, oh my God, I know we talk about Embiid a lot, but other guys have some as well, especially just to cover previous injuries. It's an Exhibit 3 clause in a NBA contract that can protect you from previous injuries. We don't know exactly what they are protected for right now. Like I said, everybody's kind of being tight-lipped about it. I would expect there to be something, but I think the bigger takeaway is how excited he is to actually sign that contract, and it seems like everything has kind of changed around where the thinking was than it was maybe in January or February. February, he was obviously going to Portland, and there was a disconnect possibly between the franchise and their star player, and now you have a guy who wants to be there, is excited about winning. The team has changed. I kind of pointed this out earlier to somebody, but the team around him, when he last played a game, May 4th, 2021, Eric Bledsoe started, Lonzo Ball started, Steven Adams started, James Nunnally played 9 minutes off the bench that game. James Johnson played 25 minutes that game. This is a much different and better team than when he left it. And now, you add him to it, and I think going back to the first question, I think the team can make a jump.
That's stunning. It's a great illustration of what was and what is.
No Herb, no Jose, no Trey, no CJ. Brandon takes a jump. JV wasn't there. Larry Nance wasn't there. I mean, obviously you have Dyson Daniels now, the number 8 pick in the draft. I mean, there's a lot of things that are different than before, from the last time he played a game.
Okay, so then why would you break it up and trade for Kevin Durant?
Because it's Kevin bleeping Durant.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of that simple. And the thing about it is, if I am the Pelicans, I don't have to give up. It's a much simpler deal. Let's start there. If it's the Phoenix deal, there's base year compensation rules with a sign and trade for DeAndre Ayton. So, and then I get hard capped, and that means I have to give away Kyrie Irving at the same time. If I decide if I'm Brooklyn and I want somebody like Donovan Mitchell from Utah, okay, well now Utah needs assets, and I still want assets because I'm still losing Kevin Durant. Okay, well that gets complicated, and then 3-team deals and 14 deals. If Miami gets involved, well, maybe I can't have Bam because of the designated player rule where I can't have Bam and Ben Simmons, so I got to send Ben Simmons someplace. Things get complicated. If it's New Orleans, and this is why you're going to continue to hear New Orleans in these talks, they have a simple deal to make. Let's just say it's Brandon Ingram. Obviously, the Pelicans would like to keep Brandon Ingram, but if it's Brandon Ingram, you only have to add $4.5 million to that to get it done from a money perspective, and then you have the picks. So you get the All-Star and you get the picks. If it's, other things can get complicated, but I think that the reasoning for Kevin Durant is quite simple. If you get Kevin Durant on your team, You probably don't have to give up that much in terms of amount of players. You're in the title contention. You're in contention for an NBA championship for the next 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 years. And I think that's the draw of a Kevin Durant. It's what brought Kevin Durant to Brooklyn in the first place. They were building and building and building, and it made Trajan Langdon was a part of that. So that's where I think that it comes in, where if you have a chance to swing for a guy who is a top 15, 20 player of all time, you can make it probably top 15. You swing for it, and I think that's where it comes from. Now, if you would like to try to keep it and grow organically and try to compete for a title, then another year or two, hopefully, if people make the jump, okay, I understand that argument, but it is still Kevin bleeping Durant. You make if you can be in that conversation, you put yourself in that conversation.
How likely is that even of a possibility?
It is a possibility. I'll put it that way. I don't know what is likely right now. I think it is. There's a possibility he ends up staying in Brooklyn. I mean, there's a lot of different things that can happen at this point. But you have put yourself as a franchise. Just think of where you were last season at this time, last year. And you were coming off you just fired your second coach in 2 years. You were hiring Willie Green. You didn't know what direction your team was going at all, if Z wanted to be here. Hell, put yourself in where you were 6 months ago, 7 months ago, when you were 3-16. Yeah. And now you're reasonably in the realm of possibilities to trade for a Kevin Durant because of the culture you've built, because of the assets you have, because of the draft picks you have. I mean, that's still just a big jump and a credit, I think, to the organization that you are in this conversation right now where, again, let's go back to December when they were 3-16 and tell somebody that the Pels will be in the conversation to trade for Kevin Durant, and you probably would have got laughed out of wherever you were. So big jump for them.
All right, last thing. Anything of note to watch in the Summer League?
I mean, a lot. I mean, heck, we were told today Dyson Daniels might play some small ball 5. I mean, the guy you drafted as a point guard. I'll believe that when I see it. Maybe Jaron Collins was just having a little fun, but he's a guy who can play 1, 2, 3 easy, can even play some power forward at spots. Running some stuff with him as a kind of a small ball 5 would be interesting to see, especially if teams go small, which they tend to kind of do in Summer League. Remember, Herb Jones, who didn't start in Summer League last year for the Pelicans, did play some small ball 5. That was kind of the original vision for him. So we'll be interested to see that. E.J. Liddell, the second-round pick, he'll play some 4 and 5 at times. So when you go to 5, he can switch kind of any position. There's a couple other guys that I would like to look at. John Butler is a very interesting one. We talked to him today. 7'1", 174 pounds. This guy is measured. I think his official measurement might be a slightly taller version than Chet Holmgren. Maybe Chet got him on height, but he's thinner than Chet Holmgren. Maybe that was kind of the big deal. But I am just fascinated to watch him play basketball at an NBA level, Summer League or not. There's some other guys, obviously Jose, Trey, Najee. They're all out there probably just for 2 games before you let the young guys kind of take over for the last 3. So it definitely be some interesting things to watch. But I will say the first 2 games are going to be very, very interesting with those regular rotation guys there.
He's on Twitter at _Andrew_Lopez. Be sure to give him a follow and read his stuff over at ESPN.com. Good stuff, man. We appreciate it as always.
Thank you, sir.
All right, man. Be well. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020. Call 924-2020. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020. Dr. Blake Williamson, he can get you there. No matter your age or your refractive issue, the Williamson Eye Center, they're just the best. For more than 70 years, the Williamson Eye Center has been serving the greater Baton Rouge area. Dr. Blake Williamson, the next generation there at the Williamson Eye Center. And, quite literally world-renowned. He travels the world and speaks at conferences and conventions. He has brought groundbreaking technologies in ophthalmology to Baton Rouge, to Louisiana, the first of its kind in many instances. I trusted him with my LASIK, and you should do the very same. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEYE.com. All right, Muse is going to have Tigers in the pros to wrap up hour number 1. A lot of Tigers in action over the 4th of July weekend. We'll get some of that. I do want to carry over the conversation with Andrew with you, though, in about 15 minutes. Because the Kevin Durant conversation has been such a lightning rod for people here that I can't help but have the conversation and advance it about the possibility of trading part of your young core for Kevin Durant. So we will do that coming up in the next hour. Also, some bouquets thrown to Cam Jordan, which we'll get to. And LSU football did pick up another football commit today. We'll delve into that. So a ton to get to in hour 3, including Otter Locks. Let me knock out our final break here of hour number 2. We'll come back and Muse will have Tigers in the Pros.
AFR.
And I love telling you about the Baton Rouge General Hospital, expanding healthcare in the greater Baton Rouge area. So many people, you never know when you might need it. But the Baton Rouge General has such a long menu of services that eventually at some point in your life you will need the Baton Rouge General Hospital. If it's for cancer services or if it's emergency care. Heck, you can deliver your baby at the Baton Rouge General Hospital. You can learn more at brgeneral.org. brgeneral.org. Told you, my family just in the last 2 years alone has taken full advantage of the emergency room, the Heart and Vascular Center, and my grandfather was just recently a heart patient admitted to the Baton Rouge General. They do exceptional work, expanding healthcare in the Baton Rouge area. brgeneral.org. brgeneral.org. Remember, they've got their express care locations. It's walk-in urgent care, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's the Baton Rouge General Hospital. brgeneral.org.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. I'm glad you're here. We will talk some Pels and KD, that whole thing. I'll get to your reaction if you want to jump aboard. You know how to do that. You can email us, tweet us at Matt Moscona. You can jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat or text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways to get involved in the show. Muso. It's like riding a bike. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
The 4th of July is a fantastic baseball day. I mean, just wall-to-wall baseball. A lot of day games, packed stadiums. Just a really, really good.
It was fun.
Up there with opening day, kind of, just with the nostalgia around it. I like it a lot. Josh Smith yesterday for the Texas Rangers.
I watched it.
Had a pretty good day at the top of the order. Was on base a couple times. Walked, also reached on a single. Came around to score a run as well there. Josh Smith fits into that leadoff spot pretty nicely, doesn't he?
He's playing really well right now for the Rangers. So I did watch that game. I found myself watching a lot of baseball yesterday, just sitting by the pool, game after game after game.
The 4th of July.
A lot of the games I watched, I were solely watching because I had a betting interest.
There you go.
Like the White Sox Twins, the triple play in the 7th
Lord.
absolutely just crushed me.
That
For those that didn't see
That was nuts.
The White Sox had two at first and second, nobody out, hit a deep fly ball to the wall, and ended up in a triple play because a bunch of big leaguers forgot how to run the bases. They all just ran up each other's backs, and they got a triple play. It was insane.
I thought it was a homer off the bat. Like, off the bat,
So
I thought it was gone.
I was very excited about the possibility.
Yeah.
I can't complain, however, because I did have the Astros yesterday as well. And
that one worked out.
And then Sunday I had the Rockies, and they got really lucky as well. They had a 3-run homer bottom 8. But anyway, hey, go on. Yes, I watched the Rangers game yesterday, and Josh Smith played very well.
Aren't you kind of forgetting something there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's
Again,
right.
ride a bike. It's been a minute here.
Been a minute.
And you know what else too, man? I have vacation brain right now.
Hey.
Just the extra day, all weekend by the pool. I'm still getting up to cruising altitude right now.
I feel you, believe me.
Yes.
I was going for a whole week then at the
Yes.
4th of July. Like, it's a little tough to get back in the swing of it today. The Detroit Tigers swept a doubleheader yesterday from Cleveland. Alex Lang in game number 2 of that doubleheader pitched a perfect inning of relief. K'd the side in that inning as well. So 3 punch-outs for Lang. His 10th hold of the season, 14 pitches, 10 strikes.
He's becoming a favorite of Rob Friedman, the pitching ninja. They have he had a 95-mile-an-hour slider, like tailing. It's crazy. Just go if you don't follow Pitching Ninja on Twitter, go follow Pitching Ninja on Twitter. You'll see what I'm talking about.
It's crazy because Alex Lang was really good here. He's even better now.
You mean as people get older, they get better?
It's
That's
crazy how that happens, right?
You go into a professional organization,
Wow.
and all you do is pitch, and then you get better. You're better at 25 than you are at 19.
Shocker.
Stunner. Crazy. Crazy
week-
that's the thing that happens IRL.
Over the weekend, had some NBA Summer League basketball. The Lakers played the Heat. Sharif O'Neal got some time with LA, 16 minutes to be exact. Shot 2 of 3 from the floor, 2 of 2 from the line, so 6-point day. 6 rebounds for Sharif as well, and 1 assist. And, of course, they were playing the Heat, so Javonte Smart was in action for Miami. 23 minutes in a starting role, shot 4 of 20 from the field, 4 of 4 from the line, 13 points, 4 assists, and 2 steals to round out the day for Javonte Smart. Well, NBA Summer League, it never really goes away, the NBA.
That's true.
It's just always here.
It's omnipresent.
It really is. The draft, Summer League, then you got preseason, then the actual season's here.
Yes.
That's Tigers in the pros.
This is the Pitching Ninja Alex Lang video, by the way.
I mean, that's just stupid.
That moves about 8 inches.
It started in the middle of the plate and ended up in, like, the other batter's box.
Yeah, that's a little unfair. Again, if you're not following, for those in our radio audience, Go follow Pitching Ninja on Twitter, and you'll see the pitch we're talking about. It's a little incredible. I mean, it starts about middle of the plate, maybe middle in, and just tails completely away from a left-handed hitter. To the outside of the plate, just misses the bat entirely. It's a little unfair.
How does anyone ever hit a baseball?
Yeah, a lot of practice. Yeah. A lot of practice. All right, it's after further review. By the way, of course, Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com, where Baton Rouge goes to get engaged and has for 40 years. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. The best, highest quality diamonds at the best price possible. And, of course, you always get the Lee Michaels experience. 2 locations in Baton Rouge, lmfj.com. Okay, Sports Center is coming up. We'll get you caught up on national headlines. Remember, Otter Locks, a little less than an hour from right now. And when we come back, should the Pelicans trade for Kevin Durant?
AFR.
But first, got to remind you about the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. So I've told you before that the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana has won the National Aesthetic Practice of the Year award. National Aesthetic Practice of the Year in Vegas. Well, Dr. Todd Howell has also won national awards for his HD Vaser lipo procedure. All this month, you can save $1,500 off of that procedure. It's wild. You see some of the before and after photos, like when you come out of the procedure, like you have abs. It's incredible. Anyway, you can learn more about it and a great discount all this month at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. 2 locations, Baton Rouge and Lafayette. So Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge near Perkins, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, or you can learn more online or schedule that consultation at theantiagingclinics.com. Again, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online, theantiagingclinics.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off new Ford F-150s. We have new 2021 F-150s on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Visit Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but 2 NMEA certified techs. Family owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years. Front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Six-time Wimbledon champ Novak Djokovic had his back against the wall in the quarterfinals today. He dropped the first 2 sets to Jannik Sinner, then roared back and won his 26th straight match at the All England Club. He faces Cameron Norrie in the semis. Free agent forward TJ Warren agreed to a 1-year deal with the Nets as they deal with Kevin Durant's trade request and uncertainty surrounding Kyrie Irving's future in Brooklyn. With Durant under contract for 4 years, the Nets certainly can be patient and get the package they want in any deal, explains ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski.
Brooklyn's mandate internally is to get the biggest, best package of assets, draft picks, and players that they can get for Kevin Durant. And with 4 years left on his contract, they have that leverage. I think right now for Brooklyn, they're looking at perhaps 4 to 5 first-round picks, pick swaps, and then an all-star level player at the minimum.
Baseball, reigning NL MVP Philly slugger Bryce Harper told reporters today he had 3 pins inserted into his fractured thumb. He wouldn't put a timeline on his recovery, but he did say he will be back at some point this season.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Musu. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. Hope you had an awesome 4th of July. Muse, I was doing a Peloton ride last week, and one of the songs on the playlist was Aqua Barbie Girl. It was like a 1990s, like sometimes you can take, like the Peloton rides, they'll tell you like what the playlist is. Like, is it a 2000s rock ride? Is it a 90s grunge ride? Is it a, whatever, club hits, right? Whatever. And one of them, they played Barbie Girl. So I had to sit there and do a Peloton ride and listen to the full Aqua Barbie Girl song.
You loved it.
No, I actually don't like
it.
I find the song very annoying. But it is very annoying. But the association with the show now is as you recall, the reason you have the drop, I know you recall this, but if you're the audience, you don't know. I told Muse, I was like, I don't care what it is, pick your drop. And he said, I don't care. I said, Aqua, Barbie Girl, boom, that was it. It was just the most annoying thing I could think of.
Yeah.
Which is why I did it. It's not that I love the song. It's actually the antithesis of why we picked it.
And it stuck.
It has.
You asked about that a lot, actually.
That and your weed habits. That's the two things that have stuck out.
Those aren't even real.
They have attached to you.
It's not a habit.
Yes.
It's not even a thing that happens.
Well, that's okay. Oh, do you have the thing?
Not yet. I had to.
Okay, see if you can find it, please. Because there's something that it's perplexing to me that I want to come back to here in a moment. And it actually does dovetail into this. Okay. On Friday, we were here, me and Terrio, and we look up at the screen and see on TV, and there's all the Kevin Durant trade rumors, or Durant has requested a trade. That news had broken. And Bobby Marks from ESPN is up on ESPN on SportsCenter, and He's doing the little trade machine thing, and the trade he proposes is Kevin Durant to the Pelicans. And it was Brandon Ingram, Larry Nance, Herb Jones, and 3 or 4 number 1 picks. I forget exactly what, but it was picks. And so we kind of just off the cuff talked about it a little bit. But since the weekend has gone on, that conversation has only grown louder. That wasn't just a one-off with Bobby Marks. As you heard Andrew Lopez, if you were here with us in the last hour, explain a trade with the Pelicans, between the Pelicans and the Nets for Durant, is actually the cleanest deal that can be done. Almost any other deal that would be done involving Kevin Durant would have to involve multiple teams, assets, money, picks, everything. The cleanest deal would be with New Orleans. It would involve Brandon Ingram, and then a relatively small amount of salary that would have to move otherwise, and then whatever pick compensation would be involved. And something I said on Friday, I'll repeat today because I think it holds. I think overwhelmingly fans of the Pelicans are not going to want to see a Kevin Durant trade done. Overwhelmingly. I think anyone in basketball looks at this and says, you would be stupid not to do a deal for Kevin Durant if you could get him. And so the way I kind of wanted to approach it was a way that I think can be somewhat more relatable, because you and I will never be the general manager of a professional sports franchise. We can't relate. We relate more from a fan's perspective, an emotional perspective. We saw this team last year after they added CJ McCollum. You saw the team start to peak. You saw Jose Alvarado have the whole Smoothie King Center chanting Jose, Herb Jones, not on Herb. The CJ McCollum trade. It came together beautifully to where this team that was just wretched at the beginning of last season became a team that was pushing what was by far and away the best regular season team in the NBA, the Phoenix Suns, to a Game 7 in the first round. It was awesome. It was so much fun to watch. And so I think naturally you latch onto that emotion and you have a tough time letting go. So I thought a lot about this, and the best comp I can give you, I think, is a GM's job is almost like the head of a household, and many of you listening right now will be able to relate to this. It's like if you're the head of a household and you have a job opportunity that causes you to have to move. It's a very, very difficult decision, but you ultimately have to make a decision which is best for your family. Like, staying where you are, you may work for a great company. You may be close to family and friends. Your kids are in school here, and there's so many comforts. And there's a lot of reason to stay. But on the other side, if you leave, it's a job, let's say, that like triples your salary, and it moves you into an area where you will have more possibilities for prosperity, better communities, cleaner, safer, better schools, the opportunity to do something generational for your family, not just your current family, but future generations of your family as well. But you love where you are, and there's not necessarily a bad option. But the option to move is something that, like, I'm sure there's plenty of you who listening right now who have been faced with that. And I think that's kind of what David Griffin has to go through right now. Like, I think they're very excited about what they built. And I think they could win a lot of games. And they could win a playoff series. Maybe even a 2 playoff series if things fall the right way. And if Zion becomes the transcendent generational player we believe he can be. If Brandon Ingram at 24 continues his progression, up the NBA hierarchy. If Herb Jones and Jose Alvarado and Trey Murphy and the young guys that showed so well late in the season last year continued their development. You add Dyson Daniels to the mix as the 8th overall pick. If he becomes you understand what I mean? But the other part of that, too, is with every one of those circumstances that I mentioned, there's also an if. And for every if, there's also a counter if. Well, what if Zion doesn't stay healthy? What if Brandon Ingram never becomes a top 10 player in the NBA? What if teams figure out how to neutralize Jose Alvarado or Herb Jones? Right? I mean, there's a lot of that. What if C.J. McCollum is obviously nearer the end of his career than the beginning if his production starts to tail off? So there's a lot of those as well, right? What you know, and what is really just indisputable, is Kevin Durant is one of the 15 or 20 best players in the history of the game. Even now at age 33, when he's healthy, Kevin Durant is a top 5 player in the NBA. He immediately makes you a championship contender. I mean, the Nets, the Brooklyn Nets this year were, along with the Lakers, the odds-on favorites to win the championship. Now, the Nets had a lot of situations that arose, namely Kyrie not being able to play for half the season because of the COVID vaccine law in New York. And, I mean, you all know what happened. Then James Harden was fat, and they traded him for Ben Simmons, who then didn't play, and it was a mess. But that doesn't take away from the fact that Kevin Durant is still sensational. And truthfully, the only way you ever, if you're in New Orleans, you ever get a player like Kevin Durant is if you get lucky, you win the lottery, and you draft him. And the Pels have had an opportunity to do that twice now with Anthony Davis, and we know how that ended. And now with Zion, and you're 3 years in, and he's played in 3 years collectively one season. But you hope now that he's on the other side of that, he'll be healthy and have an amazing career. But Kevin Durant makes you a championship contender now. And I don't know how you turn away from that, because the goal isn't to win games. The goal is to win championships. And we've seen this at times throughout sports. The Denver Broncos when they brought in Peyton Manning. The Miami Heat when they traded for Shaq back in 2005 and got their championship. I mean, we do see this in sports at times where you'll take a short-term approach in order to win a championship. And look, I mean, Toronto did it with Kawhi, and they got their championship. And he promptly left them, but they got their championship. So I think if you went to Toronto and said, was it worth it? Or if you went to Miami in 2005 and said, was it worth it? If you went to the Denver Broncos with Peyton Manning, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady, and said, was it worth it? Was it worth it? The answer you're going to get is yes, because they won championships. I mean, that's what you're playing for, right? Now, I don't know if New Orleans is even in the mix. The one argument that I think is super valid is whether or not Kevin Durant even wants to come to New Orleans. Now, he does not have a no-trade clause, so he couldn't necessarily dictate those terms, but I'm not sure I would do that deal if he weren't on board. I mean, you lived that with Eric Gordon when you did the Chris Paul trade, and all he wanted to do was just get out of here. He wanted to go to Phoenix. So, look, I mean, you could look at what the Pelicans seemingly would have to give up and say, oh, that's too much. I saw one trade scenario today at USA Today, which was Brandon Ingram, Trey Murphy, Jackson Hayes, Herb Jones, and 5 first-round picks. And that feels like a ton. But remember what New Orleans got in the Anthony Davis trade. And Anthony Davis at that point in his career wasn't Kevin Durant. So a league MVP, a finals MVP, a 2-time champion. I mean, it's worth it. I don't know if Durant wants to be here. It seems like he doesn't. I don't know if you can get a deal done. But if you're David Griffin and you have the possibility to bring Kevin Durant to New Orleans and you're not exploring that with gusto, then you are negligent in doing your job. In the same way that if you're the head of a household and you have an opportunity to change not your family's future for this generation and future generations, you're negligent if you don't at least explore how you can make a better life for your family. I think that's the best comp I can come up with. So I would love, as a fan, I would love nothing more than to see New Orleans keep this core intact and have them win with this core. To progress toward a championship with a healthy Zion who becomes maybe the best player in the league, Brandon Ingram who becomes a top 5, top 10 player in the league, Herb Jones who becomes the defensive stopper. I mean, that would be amazing to watch. Similar to what we saw Golden State do, the way they built through the draft and developed their talent. But Golden State also didn't have the opportunity then, early, to trade for Kevin Durant. It was only whenever they started winning that Durant jumped ship. I would love to see that happen. But if you have the opportunity to add Kevin Durant, you got to add Kevin Durant. We'll see what they do. And by the way, I do fully expect for roughly 98.76% of you to disagree with me on that take. And I understand. I completely understand the perspective, the emotional perspective of a fan that fell in love with this core and wants to grow with this core and watch this core grow together. But more than that, I want to win championships. And Kevin Durant gives you a better chance to do that. All right, agree, disagree, fire away. You can email me, tweet me at Matt Moscona. I'm on Instagram as well. You can always message me on Instagram or hit me up there, just Matt Moscona on Instagram. Or you can text me in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Okay, we'll get some of your feedback when we come back. Also some bouquets for Cam Jordan, which I love to see. That's next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Tuesday shows brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Better coverage for less money. You know where to find them, lainsurance.net. Or you can always give them a buzz at 293-0450, 293-0450. Y'all, it's financially, times are so tough right now for a lot of people. Everything costs more, and if you can't just snap your fingers and make more money, then you got to find a way to save money. And Insurance Network of Louisiana helps people do that every single day on their insurance. There was a guy, an AFR listener named Brad, who had been with Liberty Mutual. He had some of his coverage with Liberty Mutual, some with Allstate. Anyway, they were able to get his hurricane deductible from $9,000 to $5,000. So they reduced his hurricane deductible and saved him $2,700 a year. What if you could save nearly $3,000 on your insurance? It's possible with Insurance Network of Louisiana. 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
My own people call me an Uncle Tom. I play music. Been wined and dined by royalty. Trying to bring people together. All people. But regardless of all that kind of stuff, I'm still Louis Armstrong.
Here's the man you're waiting for, the king of jazz, Louis Satchmo Armstrong.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge wants to recognize a member of our community with an honorary ESPN ESPY Award. This year, the ESPYs are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Title IX, and we are looking for local athletes, administrators, or community volunteers who actively work to expand access to sports for girls. Visit 1045ESPN.com now through Wednesday, July 6th to submit a nomination. We'll name our ESPY recipient on Wednesday, July 13th. Then tune into the ESPYs presented by Capital One on Saturday, July 20th at 7 p.m. on WBRZ TV.
So at the top of the this is what we're going to talk about. At the top of the hour, you heard Christine Lisi do a report from Woj, and this is how it sounded.
Explains ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski.
Okay, I have a major problem with this. The man's nickname is, help me, Muse. What's his nickname?
Woj.
Woj. Why is his nickname Woj?
Because his name is Wojnarowski.
How do you spell Woj?
W-O-J.
W-O-J. Woj. Okay. How did Christine and everybody else at that network pronounce this man's name?
Explains ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski.
Oh, my God. It's not Wojnarowski. It's not W-A-R-J-A-N-O-W-S-K-I. It's not Wojnarowski.
That's not how you spell it.
It's W-O-J. It's Woj. Wojnarowski. It's phonetically spelled W-O-J-N-A-R-O-W-S-K-I. Wojnarowski. It's not hard. It's actually a very easy name to pronounce. Why can nobody at the network for which he works pronounce this man's name correctly? Can't someone go up and shake him and say, hey, just call me Woj? It's Wojnarowski or Woj. Either way, I'm good. But Wojnarowski?
Explains ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski.
And I'm not crushing her because I think she's awesome. Christine Lisi does a great job. And there's some that do not do a great job doing that. She does a great job. But how can nobody say this man's name correctly?
That's the thing. It isn't just her. Like, it is everybody.
It's everybody.
Sports Center anchors. I mean,
all of them.
ESPN radio hosts, like, nationally.
Is it possible that I'm wrong?
No, I don't think so.
Is it possible that, like, he's told them all, hey, you know it's spelled Wojnarowski, but you actually say Wojnarowski? Is it possible?
I mean, I guess it's.
Or can they just?
I guess it's possible.
Have they just all been calling him the wrong name, and so they just keep saying?
I think that's more likely.
Like Jadeveon Clowney. You ever heard Jadeveon Clowney?
Yeah.
After like 10 years, he tells everybody, actually, you know, it's Jadeveon.
Tyrod Taylor was actually Tyrod.
Tyrod.
Yeah.
Monty Ball was actually Monte Ball.
Yeah.
You know.
I can't imagine that's actually what's happening with Woj. Maybe one day he'll be that guy though. Like, actually, you've been saying it wrong this entire time.
Yeah, it's Wojnarowski, actually. Pet peeve. Shocker, I have a pet peeve. Shocker, I have a problem with something. Grammatically incorrect. Stunner. Okay. I loved to see this earlier today. By the way, I'm going to come back to some of your reactions to the KD stuff. Got a lot of texts coming in, some tweets. I'm going to get to it. I love to see this earlier today. So, you know, I'm not huge on like lists and summertime lists. We make fun of summertime lists around here because it's just stupid and lazy and not very good. But this one I'm not so concerned about because of the list, but more what it says about this player in particular. So ESPN does their top 10s, right? So they do their 10 best at every position throughout the summer because, you know, you got to get clicks and fill content throughout the summer. And so they did their top 10 edge rushers, and number 10 was the Saints' Cam Jordan. So last year he was number 9 on the list. He's number 10. The lowest ranking he's ever had. He was outside of these rankings altogether, and he actually just beat out Trey Hendrickson, who was the first one outside of the top 10 there. But I love to see this. It was a great attaboy to Cam Jordan, who because the production had dropped a couple of years ago when Trey Hendrickson had the big breakout season, a lot of people looked and wondered if Cam Jordan maybe was if he was on the tail end. But one of the anonymous executives commented in this piece at ESPN, until he shows tangible drop-off, like some of the younger guys who haven't had nearly the production despite getting all the attention from protections like he does, I'd say he hasn't fallen off. Still one of the best in the game. That's from one NFC scout. Cam Jordan also, incredibly, had a 33.5% run-stop win rate. That was the highest among the players on the list. His pass rush win rate was only 9.7%, so that's not very good. But as one of the coaches anonymously pointed out, they play him all over the defensive line. So because he's sometimes playing on the interior, he's eating up a lot of double teams, he's just not going to have as high a win rate as if they had just said, hey, put your hand in the dirt and go get him. But what's most impressive about that, like, okay, it's not breaking news that Cam Jordan is good at football and is still a productive player even at 32 years old. When you look at the players on this list, there's something that stands out to me, that stood out to me, especially when you look at the top half of this list. Number 1 on the list is TJ Watt, 27 years old. Number 2 is Myles Garrett, 26 years old. By the way, isn't it crazy Myles Garrett's only 26 years old? Feels like he's been playing the NFL forever. Nick Bosa, 24 years old. 4 is Joey Bosa, 26 years old. 5 is Max Crosby, 24 years old. And then you get to Von Miller at 6, who's 33. Chandler Jones at 7, who's 32. Brian Burns of the Panthers, who's 24. And then Khalil Mack at 9, who's 31, then Cam Jordan. Then after that, Trey Hendrickson, Chase Young, Danielle Hunter, Shaq Barrett, DeMarcus Lawrence. So Lawrence is obviously a little long in the tooth on that one, but you're talking about all of these guys are young guys in their middle 20s, except for Von Miller, who's one of the best of this or any era, Chandler Jones, who's been one of the best of the last decade, Khalil Mack, and Cam Jordan. I think that's the most impressive thing, is that if you're looking at Cam Jordan and saying he's holding the same company as Von Miller and Chandler Jones and Khalil Mack, and oh, by the way, he's a definitively and objectively better run stopper than those players, it speaks volumes about Cam Jordan, who just continues to plug along. And it's worth mentioning again, and again, this isn't breaking news to Saints fans. You all know this, but what did Mike Detillier say for years here? The best ability is availability. Cam Jordan has played in 176 out of 177 possible career games. The only game he missed, he had a streak broken this year because of COVID. He has never missed a game due to injury. He is always available. He's aggressive against the run. He can put his hand in the dirt, rush the passer when you need him. He can play inside or out. Cam Jordan is headed to Canton. He is going to be a Pro Football Hall of Famer. If he retired today and didn't play another down, he would be a Pro Football Hall of Famer. But the really cool thing is, if you think about the best defensive players in the history of the New Orleans Saints organization, you probably start with Ricky Jackson, because Ricky Jackson is a Hall of Famer. He leads the Saints in career sacks, and his 57 is retired by the organization. He's in the Ring of Honor. Cam Jordan is going to achieve all of those accolades. He's going to break Ricky Jackson's career sack record with the Saints. He's going to one day be in the Saints Ring of Honor. And in my opinion, he will be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame as well. The cool part of that is, I watched Ricky Jackson play as a kid. I'm 40. I'll be 40 on Friday. I watched Ricky Jackson play as a kid. I remember watching Ricky Jackson. I remember watching the Dome Patrol, but I was still young. And then, of course, Ricky Jackson left and went to the 49ers and won a Super Bowl with the Niners. Cam Jordan is the same. It belongs to the Saints. And for this generation of people who are my age or younger, Cam Jordan is our version of, I don't want to say our version of Ricky Jackson because they're not the same player, but knowing you're watching one of the greatest players and the guy who will finish his career as the greatest pass rusher in Saints history, which is, when you're watching Drew Brees, you are watching the greatest player to ever play for the Saints. It's like that defensively with Cam Jordan right now. You're watching a guy that not only will be in the conversation, but when it's done, is going to be at the top of it. You're going to start that list with Cameron Jordan, which is so cool to see and to take notice of while it's happening. So I saw that today, wanted to share it, and excited to see Cam Jordan head into the 2022 season to see if he can continue this production. Another double-digit sack season this last year for Cam Jordan at 12.5. That's 2 of the last 3 years. After the step back in the COVID year where he had 7.5, but in 2019, 15.5 sacks. He's 13 sacks in 2017, 12 in 2018, 15.5, then 7.5, 12.5. You go back to 2017. That's 4 of the last 5 years he's had double-digit sacks. He's been incredible, and excited to see what's going to be next for him. All right, it's after further review. I still got a ton to get to. Let me remind you about GMFS Mortgage, gmfsmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. Home buy, refi, construction loans, GMFS Mortgage does it all. And remember, I know I keep sharing this, but if you're thinking maybe it's not a great time to buy a home, remember, home values are not decreasing. And they may not appreciate as quickly, but it doesn't mean they're depreciating. But the thing to keep in mind, I know a lot of people looked at increased interest rates and said, I'm going to wait till rates go down. Remember this. You can still buy a home now when the home is at its current price before a home's appreciate. And then when rates drop again, refi. Don't take my word for it. Have a conversation with someone who does this professionally every day at GMFS Mortgage. GMFSmortgage.com. Home buy, refi, construction loans, they do it all. GMFSmortgage.com. GMFS Mortgage. Changing lives. Okay. I want to knock out a break. We'll come back. LSU football did pick up another commit today. Let me reset that for you as well when we come back. And also, one analyst thinks Jameis Winston will be the NFL Comeback Player of the Year. Something we talked about a few weeks ago, but starting to gain a little bit of momentum. We'll get to that. A ton to do. And again, your calls, texts, emails, tweets on the Kevin Durant to Pelicans possibility. Still a lot to do. A couple segments to do it. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Rouse's is the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. You know where to go. Log on to rouses.com, or download the Rouse's app. No matter where you are in the state, there's a Rouse's near you. And remember, they've got delivery and pickup options. So if you need to save time or you don't have time to get to Rouse's, download the app or go to the website, rouses.com, hit the delivery and pickup tab, and you'll see. You can select your items. They'll go shop for you. When you pull up into the curbside space, they'll bring your items out to you, saves you time. Or if you can't make it to Rouse's, they'll deliver to your home, rouses.com, or download the Rouse's app. Maybe you're headed home right now and you need dinner plans and you're not sure what leftovers you might have from the 4th of July, or you don't feel like cooking. No worries. Let Rouse's take care of it. Just walk into any Rouse's location, go to the left. You'll see all of their boiled, their hot and ready meals. The salad bar, great options no matter what your flavor is tonight. Rouse's, this feels like home.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Kids have staked out their place at Ochsner Medical Complex The Grove, where more than 30 pediatricians and pediatric specialists are all conveniently located under one roof, so you can spend less time driving and more time keeping your kids well. Yes! It's no wonder kids call dibs at The Grove. Ochsner Health Center for Children.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Hudco Roofing brings you live coverage of the 2022 SEC Football Media Days.
Yeah, they do.
Monday, July 18th through Thursday, July 21st. Our coverage is also brought to you locally by Jerry Lane and Rejuveme and by 104.5 ESPN's official SEC Media Days sports betting partner, DraftKings.
Looking forward to it, man. We will be 2 weeks from today in Atlanta at SEC Football Media Days. It is almost upon us. So excited about it. LSU goes on Monday at Media Days. So it should be a good 4 days there in Atlanta, and especially with conference realignment. Look, we were there in Atlanta last year when the news broke. Well, I guess it was in Hoover last year, but when the news broke about Texas and OU coming into the SEC, you just never know what's going to come out of that. So we're looking forward to it being there 2 weeks from today. All right, it's after further review. By the way, a lot of your calls, texts, emails, tweets about the Durant storyline. I tried as best I can to explain my position on why I think the Pelicans, if they have the opportunity to, should trade for Kevin Durant. And I'm being so abundantly clear, I know that is not going to be a popular opinion. I will be in the overwhelming minority. But I want to see the team win a championship. And they'll have a better chance of doing that with Kevin Durant than without. A couple of tweets that came in. Look, let me read this text from Lonnie Williams. You can text us 225-396-4400. Lonnie said, "It sounds great, but you're really giving up your depth. In case Zion gets hurt or CJ gets hurt or Kevin Durant gets hurt, you're extremely short on the bench. He has a habit of leaving with a young team. He's not a leader." Lonnie, I know this much. You can win a championship without great depth. You cannot win a championship without multiple superstar players. Kevin Durant gives you that. You have a lot of what ifs. What if he gets hurt? What if? Okay. What I do know is if this Pelicans team as they are today, if they all stay healthy, all play 82, you're still not winning an NBA championship this year. If Kevin Durant's on your team, you can. Not saying you will, but you have the possibility. Jonathan Burris on Twitter, Matt, totally agree about Durant. Acquiring me instantly makes the Pels a championship contender. And there's Hunter Burns who said, I am the emotionally attached Pels fan that is currently saying keep the young core. But Sconeman is actually talking competent Pels talk for a segment, and I will not complain about that also in Griff I Trust. Now, that's a great point. If you trust the leadership of the organization that is built to this point, then you should also trust them to be able to competently make the decision of what is next for this organization, be it with or without Kevin Durant. I think as Andrew Lopez pointed out in the last hour, the fact that this was a franchise who at the start of this past season was 3-16. We all know the story, right? You had no Zion. We're literally having questions about if he wants out, if he'll be back. I mean, you had Kendrick Perkins saying the franchise should relocate. And now here we are 6 months later, and we're legitimately having conversations about this team doing a deal for Kevin Durant. I mean, it's just light years from where they were, and it's so much fun. I mean, whatever happens, I feel really good. If you keep this young core together, I feel great. I'm going to have a lot of fun watching them grow and develop and build. And if you get Kevin Durant, you have Kevin Durant on your team. I mean, there isn't a bad scenario how this could unfold. So I will all follow along and watch. All right, it's after further review. LSU just had an absolutely torrid weekend of recruiting. A commit on Friday, a commit on Sunday, 3 commits on the 4th of July, and then they were not done. If you follow any of the recruiting staff on Twitter, they were all alluding to the fact that there was more coming, and more came today in the person of Xavier Debo Atkins out of Jonesboro Hodge up in North Louisiana. So he is a hybrid linebacker safety. He's a 3-star for the class of 2024. So he's entering his junior year in high school. So he's a 2024 prospect. Had been committed to Missouri, decommitted, now is committed to LSU. So again, that's a North Louisiana kid who now is committed to LSU for the class of 2024. One of the things, though, that I love to see, and I would highly recommend you go follow not just the assistant coaches, but the staff, the off-field staff on Twitter. This is something that's going to make a lot of LSU fans very happy. John Randall Belton is LSU's director of recruiting, so he's an off-field staff member. But when they got the commitment today from the kid from the linebacker from Jonesboro Hodge, which is in North Louisiana, John Randall Belton tweeted like a state sign, like a road sign, LA 318, like a picture of the road sign. And he said, "Here to stay," with the tiger emoji. Basically putting his stamp saying, we're not losing any more kids on North Louisiana. So as much as that has been a trouble spot over the years, with kids from North Louisiana getting out of the state, and you don't need me to run through the long list of them. And to be very clear, there have been so many great players from North Louisiana who have ended up at LSU and had great careers. Jacob Hester, who sits in that seat right there every day, namely among them. Andrew Whitworth, Brady James. We can run through the long list, but you all know the names and are well acquainted with them. We hope Will Campbell is next, obviously, who's here now from Neville. So this is not to disassociate with North Louisiana, but there have been a lot of kids from North Louisiana who have gotten away. You've got to put your stamp because the brand of football in the northern part of the state is too good. You've got to set your roots deep with those young guys and get them here and cut off that pipeline, namely to the east over there in Tuscaloosa. So great to see that with Xavier Atkins committing to LSU against a 2024. He's listed as a linebacker. He calls himself a linebacker hybrid safety. But anyway, so already getting a jump start on next year's class. By the way, Shea Dixon was with us on Thursday. And part of a big part of the class so far has been the job Jamar Cain has done, the defensive line coach. 4 of the commitments already are defensive linemen. And Shea kind of took a stab at why Jamar Cain was having so much success on the recruiting trail early at LSU, and he kind of made the correlation of what he was doing at Oklahoma.
Jamar Cain was Oklahoma's D-line coach, and they recruit all good players too. So I remember when we talked to Cain, they had a media session not long after he got hired, and we were talking about recruiting, and he said, hey, look, by the summer last year, I had my whole Oklahoma class signed, not signed, but committed. We knew they were in, and we were good to go. So I started working on these guys. Well, yeah, I changed jobs and come to LSU, but LSU had already offered them. I'd come right back, hey, you know me. I was recruiting you to OU, now I'm recruiting you to LSU. It ain't that big of a difference. It's two big schools that, were recently in playoffs. So I think that was kind of a big benefit there. Like, your D-line coach was already recruiting all these guys. So I think that'll start to pay off.
That was Shea Dixon again on AFR. We took our whole hour with Shea and cut it into 3 different videos that we posted on the After Further Review YouTube channel. So if you missed it and you want to go get it in sort of smaller, bite-size video versions, you can do that on the After Further Review LSU YouTube channel. So go check it out there and please subscribe. All right, final break of the show. We'll come back, little Otter locks, find out what we're betting on tonight. The Otter just rode a heater last week. See if he can pick up where he left off. That's next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. If you are looking to beautify your outdoor spaces, Clegg's can help. We had family over for the 4th of July, and we tell you all the time, Erica loves these dipplodenias that she plants in the backyard and all the pots around the pool, and they are gorgeous. They're big and beautiful, and they thrive even in this heat. It is so impressive how they thrive in this weather in Louisiana, and it's so gorgeous to add that color and that feel to your outdoor space. Clegg's has a great selection. Get on by any of their 4 locations and see them, or find what's perfect for you. So many of us, maybe you have time to give great care to your lawn and your garden, or maybe you need something that's going to be able to thrive without so much TLC. Clegg's has the answer for you. Buy local, shop local for more than 60 years. Be sure to tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has new 2021 Jeep Wranglers and Jeep Gladiators on our lot now with $5,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Trying to get a hold of Otter. I know Otter is headed out west to Del Mar, and he's going to be there for like 3 weeks. I think he's just moving to Del Mar. Bro. I mean, it's going to be the Otter. He's going to wants to go live in Del Mar for a month, bet on the horses every day. Don't blame him. We got him? Okay, we do have the Otter. All right, so we do it every day about this time. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Bocage Barbershop in Bocage Village. Serving the Bocage, Goodwood, and Town Center area since 1959.
All right, so we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Oddfather himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Somebody posted on Twitter, this is the most Monday, Tuesday around.
Yeah.
This is kind of a foggy Tuesday today after a 3-day weekend. I mean, battling it out, watching triple plays turn on me while I'm trying to watch the fireworks. Come on, man.
I didn't want to text you, but I did text Otter yesterday, got his picks, and so one of his picks, we had a two-leg parlay, and the second leg was a White Sox money line play. And they were just about to blow the game open, and then, unfathomably, they hit into a triple play. But anyway, all right, Otter, a good weekend, though, overall. And you were absolutely in fuego last week. So I'm assuming we got more baseball today. Let's get to it. What you looking at?
All right, I'm going to ride one of my favorite teams, and they're 6 or 7 games below 500 right now, but they just battle, man. They're down to their last out in the ninth yesterday, tied it up 1 in the 10th. They have the toughest schedule in all of baseball because everybody else in their division is over 500, including the Yankees, who are the number 1 ROI team in all of baseball. The Baltimore Orioles, they stole it from Texas yesterday. Even money today. I'm going with Baltimore. Not the best pitching matchup in the world, but I just love the way this team battles. I'm taking the Orioles at home again in there. And once upon a time, let me jog your memory, Mr. Moscona.
Okay.
You remember a pitcher by the name of Jake Pavetta? Remember when I mentioned him?
Yes.
He said blood money, and he had all this stuff.
I
He
do.
has been on an absolute heater since. $1.25 or so at home against Springs. Springs he was one of those openers for Tampa Bay. They stretched him out to 4 and it's just 6 innings. His last 2 starts are a little suspect, maybe tapering off a little bit. That is a very honest line for Boston's best pitcher at their home park, where they obviously have some advantages because of the extreme dimensions. Jake Pavetta in the Boston Red Sox.
Well, you mean Nick Pavetta, but are you talking?
Yeah.
Wait, are you talking?
Jake, yes.
Or you could have gone with Dick Pavetta, the longtime NBA official.
I'm very sorry, Mark. Let's go. All right.
Hey, wait, hold on. Was the Red Sox was the Red Sox a money line play or a run line play?
Money line play.
Money
line play.
All right,
yes,
got it,
indeed.
got it.
And I'm going to give you another over, too. Kopech and Archer, both sliding as of late. The total is 9. We know about that Minnesota Twins bullpen. We're about to get into it if we just did give away a triple play last night.
God.
Kopech is sliding a little bit. We're going to go over the 9 in White Sox, Minnesota. So over White Sox, Minnesota, Boston, and Joey Pavetta, and Baltimore. It happens when you get old, man. You know that?
All right. That's Jack Ott, who's with us right now. All right, so Baltimore.
Uncle
Boston.
Mel. Uncle Mel. Fastest to 100 home runs, baby.
Oh, man. Baltimore, Boston, and the over in the White Sox and Minnesota. Where are you tonight, Otter?
1 minute remaining.
Burnside salad,
I love
baby.
it,
The
man.
original Mike Anderson's on lead just off of Nicholson. My band Shane is behind the bar, shucking away. The char grilling as well. All oysters in a half shell are half price every Tuesday night from 5 to 9 p.m. Mike Delicano is with us today. Got golf tips. How about my buddy Wes Reynolds? He'll be on at 7. He hit JT Poston at 40-1.
Oh,
Hello.
wow.
There's the fireworks. And so
it pays to listen to the
ask
Otter.
Stockwell just ask Stockwell if I was hooting and hollering in the sports book when I get that. So.
Game Time with Jimmy Ott follows us in Baton Rouge. If you're not in Baton Rouge, online at 1045ESPN.com or the Game Time with Jimmy Ott Facebook page. Thank you, Otter.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, have a great show. Muse, welcome back. Good to have you here. Glad that the 420 cruise went well for you. Paulie is what did you learn?
Drew Bianco is a coach on Mike Bianco's USA staff.
I'm getting back in the flow. We're done. Yeah. We're late.
AFR.
Dude, it was one of those days. I'm so glad it's over. Vacation brain all day. Luckily, at Relief Windows, you never have to worry about crystal clear thinking and crystal clear windows over at Relief Windows. That was a really awful transition, but I did my best with it. ReliefWindows.com, 288-8138, 288-8138, or ReliefWindows.com. I'll tell you one thing is for certain, is we are having extreme heat in Louisiana right now. I mean, the heat wave is legitimate. It's dangerous for a lot of people. But at Relief Windows, they install energy-efficient replacement windows. So if you want to keep your energy bill low, these energy-efficient replacement windows will prevent costly air leaks, will keep the hot air out and your cool air in. It's worth looking into it how you can invest into your home to save. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. ReliefWindows.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off new Ford F-150s. We have new 2021 F-150s on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste and only 96 calories. It's Miller time.
Visit Acura of Baton Rouge for attractive offers on the MDX.